Can you tell that I'm just using this intro to flex that I have broken spine, girl? Hey y'all, today we're back with more reviewing community submitted unpopular opinions. This is part 5. We have a lot more today, so I'm hoping that this video is like 20 minutes. Let's go ahead and get started. So first, Tones, Animatronics, and More says that Darling Dolly is super overrated. So overall, I would say I can kind of understand the hype just because she's a very unique concept. We've only had a few like life-size dolls. I think it's basically only been Creepy Rising Doll and then maybe something else, I don't know. But I kind of understand the hype. I also love her animation. She kind of like bends down, super creepy, super awesome. I think that a lot of people like her because there's not many creepy girl props this year. Like compared to like 2019 or 2014, obviously 2019 we had Abandoned Annie, Demonic Dahlia, Bloodthirsty Betty, a few others, Double Trouble, and then this year we have like, I don't think we have any creepy girl props this year. Overall, I would say I would have to disagree with this one. She's very cool, and I think that unless people see her in real life and can like actually say like she's horrible, I would say that she's pretty awesome, and I would have to disagree with this one. I've considered getting her, but there's also like other leaked props that look really awesome. So overall, I would have to disagree with this one. Mingebag 31 says that Jack-o'-lantern is one of the best props of all time. Similarly to the convulsing nurse opinion, I would probably also have to agree with this one. It's one of those props that's really solid. Obviously, the quality was really questionable. But if someone said that Jack-o'-lantern was their favorite prop of all time, I wouldn't question that at all. You know, I love that kind of animation that he has, because not only does he kind of lunge forward, but his arms shoot out. And I didn't realize that. I didn't realize how much animation he had. And I think that if Techie were to revamp that mechanism and revamp how he works, he could be a really awesome animatronic. I think that his mechanism was horrible, obviously. Like, he broke a lot. He was really hard to fix as well. Techie basically made sure that you couldn't get inside that mechanism and fix it, which was so annoying. But he was so cool. I love that animation. He shot out, and he had good audio. He looked cool. He was really cool. And so I'd probably have to agree with this one. I really do think that Jack-o'-lantern could be considered one of the best props of all time. Next, Gourdo says that Gourdo is the best prop of the past few years. I would have to disagree with this one because we've basically seen Gourdo at like Party City like 3 years ago. And I think that people are like, oh my gosh, Gourdo's so cool because he's released that Spirit. Just being honest, a lot of people love to just like obsess over Spirit things because they're Spirit, and that's kind of frustrating because admittedly sometimes they do produce stuff that's just not as cool as other companies, cool as other stores. And I think Gourdo is really just fine. When he pops up and he has all the pumpkin guts, it kind of looks bad. There's like a few strands and then it's just printed on a piece of fabric, and he's just like a generic pop-up jump scare prop. I don't really know what to say. I don't really get the hype around him because we basically seen this prop like 3 years ago, and it doesn't really seem that exciting, doesn't really seem that unique. They basically, Spirit loves to do this where they just put a prop on like a riser or like a box kind of thing. They did this with Monty, they did it with Desmodus, and they're doing it with Gourdo, where they basically lie about how big it is. So they're like, 3-foot Gourdo, 2-foot Gourdo, but it's like, yeah, but the more than half of the height is just like a metal box. Especially with Desmodus, like they say he's 7 feet. Like, yeah, but he's on top of like a 3.5-foot pillar. So I don't know if I like that. Gourdo is, in my opinion, not one of the best props of the past few years, so I'd have to disagree with this one. I think he's not a bad prop, but he's also not like one of the best. Me says the 2020 themes were so good. I think I've talked about this a few times in this series. The 2020 themes were pretty cool. I like how they did kind of a walkthrough section. I also like the little fire flames. And I think the back theme is just kind of boring. None of the props fit. It was like base level back theme. I think what they could have done to make the themes better, mostly the back theme, because I think the front theme is actually pretty awesome. They should have made some kind of other thing, like maybe like a tent, and they could have included like Miss Mercy. That would have been so cool, like a hospital tent. Like, you could include Ellie Hatchet, maybe, I don't know. You could just include, like, a little separate kind of thing, kind of how, like, in 2014, like, the Last Chance Gas, how it was composed of that back theme, and then as well as, like, a few front areas that were part of the same theme. Maybe if there was, like, a tent, and then they had Miss Mercy with her head twisting, all creepy. I would have to kind of say yes and no, because I would say the front theme is really good, but the back theme is not. So I'd have to do the little half and half with this one, just because I don't really know if I agree fully, but also you're not wrong, if that makes sense. An anonymous submitter says that 2017 was one of the best years, and then 2018 kind of sucked. This has been a recurring theme, kind of every other year is really good. Back then, I think a lot of the years were good, but recently it seems like even number years are bad, odd number is good. 2017, I do think was one of the best years. I do like how they fit the props in the theme. Area 31 was a really cool theme. I love that theme. Spirit Hollow Bridge was spooky. All the props kind of fit, maybe not the clowns. They like to just sneak in clowns for no reason. But overall, yeah, I would have to agree with this one. I don't really like 2018 that much. But it goes along with the whole odd number years good, even number years bad. Because 2019 was good, 2020 was kind of bad, 2021 was pretty good, 2022 was actually horrible, and then 2023 looks like it's going to be pretty good. So yeah, I would have to agree with this one. 2017 was good, and then 2018 was bad. Just turned my fan on. If there's any noise, it's just my fan. The next one from an anonymous submitter, they said that Home Depot and Lowe's are far ahead of Spirit. Example, Spirit has no new servo props, while Home Depot and Lowe's have pneumatic servo eyes and realistic blinking. This one I would definitely have to agree with. Spirit Halloween has kind of fallen back in the past few years. They often rely on these like kind of one-trick pony concepts where it's like, look, it does this, and then nothing else, right? Like, a good example is Mr. Dark, because his mechanism is really cool, right? Techie knocked it out of the park with that one. But what else does he do? He lights up. He has an insanely long, like, reset time. I don't know. He looks boring. And yeah, overall, this year we've seen a lot of really cool props from other companies. For example, like Cold Hate. I have Cold Hate over here in the box. I just put him away because he's huge. But he has the servo head that moves in like all the kind of ways. He has the realistic blinking. His eye moves around. His eye looks around and blinks. And then both of his arms move. And the thing lights up. Like, and then like all the things on his chest light up. Like, you cannot, I don't think it's fair to, I don't even think it's fair to compare some Home Depot props to Spirit props. I'm just gonna say it, like it's actually kind of crazy how ahead, like even Lowe's with the pneumatics, it's so crazy how far ahead they are with the advancements in technology, especially with the pricing, because Spirit is not afraid to just make anything $300, $400, and then Home Depot, you never see anything over 300 unless it's like gigantic. Like even Cold Hate, he is 280, he is 7 feet. He has the servo head movement, blinking eye, moving eye, like 8 different lights, arms moving, 7 feet tall, looks really cool, has lots of sculpted pieces. Like, be so serious. I cannot with this. I wish that Spirit would price things how they did back then, because now you'll get like 2 animations for like 300. It's insane. I don't understand Spirit's pricing. I love Home Depot and Lowe's. So yeah, I would definitely have to agree with this one. Home Depot and Lowe's are just so more far ahead than Spirit, and it's just kind of upsetting sometimes because I'm rooting for Spirit, I am, but they keep failing, and it's so frustrating. Okay, another anonymous submitter says that most of the little girl props are absolutely terrible. I feel like this is kind of like bait, like the last one about like Widow. Like, Widow's terrible. I feel like this is just bait for me to talk about it, but I'm still gonna talk about it. They're just spooky, usually, because little girls are supposed to be innocent and like not evil demons, you know? But they are, but like, look at her. She's terrifying. She's spooky. And I think a lot of recent little girl props have been kind of hit or miss in the past few years. We actually haven't seen many little girl props at all recently. I think just like Betty Sharp. I don't really like Betty Sharp. I think Mommy's Favorite is pretty cool. But overall, I would obviously have to disagree with this one. I feel like I don't want an influx of just like bait for me to talk about. So if you're seeing this, please don't just like put a bunch of things that you know I'm gonna disagree with just so you can make it in the video. But yeah, I definitely have to disagree with this one. I think little girl props are usually really creepy and well made, so I'd have to disagree with this one. Okay, apologies if I say this name wrong. Sardonyx, I think, says that Spirit getting rid of Heckles was a big mistake. I get that the face had deformities, but I feel like they're not nearly as bad as Peekaboo Clowns or Charlie's, or even Mr. Salty and Flesh Eater in 2020. Heckles, in my eyes, was a standout item of the year, and I hope it at least returns. So, yeah, I don't know why they just recalled him, or, like, kind of... I don't know if they're not going to sell him this year, or if they're going to return him later, but obviously the mouth movement made him have to be latex, and latex faces, especially with SVI, are just notoriously awful. And I think that this one is very true because he had the same kind of deformities as Uncle Charlie and Peekaboo Clown, and they didn't do anything about him, especially with Uncle Charlie, because the expectations were so high. People really wanted him to return, and the fact that he finally returned, people are like, wow, he's gonna be cool. He wasn't. I don't know. I honestly could not tell you why they took Heckles off the market. He was a pretty cool prop. I think he was obviously really expensive because he just had that mouth movement, he looked side to side, and he had that balloon. And he was $280. Be for real, you know. I wouldn't agree with it. He was a standout of this item of the year just because this year does seem to have some really cool props like Blackheart, Darling Dolly, leaked photos of that one prop like Emmeline with like the new techie mech. Really cool. So I don't know if she's a standout, but I definitely don't understand why Spirit took him off the market because they didn't do that in 2020. They didn't seem to care at all in 2020 whenever half the props looked horrible, and then they were like, it's fine, it's okay. But now there's one prop that looks like kind of bad, and they're like, yeah, actually, we're canceling him. It doesn't make sense. I don't know if Spirit's trying to like overcompensate and be like, we expect the best quality from our props, and we are going to take it off the market because he did not look good. Like, Spirit doesn't actually care that much as long as they're selling it. It feels kind of performative that they just like took him off the market and were like, we have to put Poor George in the place, which by the way, I like Poor George more. So I like that they put him in the place at the store. But I'd have to agree. I wouldn't say he's one of the best props of the year, but it makes no sense that they took him off the market and got rid of him because they didn't really seem to care in the previous years whenever their face had deformities, but then this year they're like, no, it's bad. I don't know, it makes no sense. So overall, I'd have to agree with this one. Okay, Tones, Animatronics, and More says that Spirit Halloween 2023 is better than Home Depot 2023. Definite disagree with this one. Spirit Halloween in the past years has just been over and over losing to Home Depot. Home Depot not only has better prices, but I think their animatronics are just better. I know y'all are gonna hate on me for saying that because Home Depot manages to keep the prices at like half of what Spirit would have, and it does more. I genuinely could not tell you how Spirit prices their stuff. Home Depot makes sense for the price. It is justifiable, and it makes me feel comfortable spending that much. I feel like their unique ideas can't save them from being beat out by other companies because it seems that this year Spirit is just kind of falling behind. Obviously, it's a decent year for Spirit, but Home Depot just really knocked it out of the park. I don't know what to tell you. So I'd have to disagree with this one. I think that Home Depot is probably better than Spirit Halloween this year. This year specific. I think MarshallTheHaunter takes the cake for being featured in these videos the most. So wow, congratulations. They said that Spirit should just have a year in which they bring back all of their fan favorite old props. So this is weird. I kind of like how they do it now with the Flashback Fridays where they bring back older props. I like how it's just a few and it's just online only. I think it's good that they bring back old props, but also I don't think that they should do a whole year where it's just bringing back props. I kind of like every year at Spirit Halloween how they have new stuff and they have new animatronics, and I realize that if they only bring back old stuff, Home Depot is going to get a lot more business than Spirit. Respectfully, because yeah, Spirit has some really old awesome animatronics, but a lot of companies are either out of business and they can't produce them anymore, or I feel like they might just not do them justice anymore. And having a whole year where it's just older props that would be very boring. I feel like a lot of people wouldn't really like that, personally. Something I've definitely noticed about the flashback props is that they're kind of just random animatronics that nobody cares about. Specifically, like the grave grabbing corpse and the gatekeeper. Also, honestly, grave watcher, because I feel like now that prop definitely has some support. But back then, nobody really cared about grave watcher, and nobody was screaming at Spirit to bring them back. And so I really just wonder why Spirit decides to bring back some of these props. It's definitely mostly YJ and like SVI is bringing back most of the props, but I couldn't tell you why they bring back half the props they do. And I feel like if they did just do a year where they brought back props from previous years, they would bring back really questionable props that nobody wanted, and not like big fan favorites such as Broken Spine Girl back there. I would have to disagree with this one. I think that having a whole year where they just bring back old stuff could be fun for the Haunters, but overall, like, I don't know if that would be the best business decision. That's like a really big concept, and you'd have to get a lot of companies on board, and I don't really know if that would work out, so I'd have to disagree with this one. Propmaster says that Heckles needs to come with a helium tank that has a toxic logo on it. I don't know exactly what they mean by this. I don't know if they mean like instead of a balloon, like they're holding like a toxic gas tank or something. I don't really know if that would work for the character Heckles. Heckles is a kind of mundane clown. I wouldn't say he's the same as like Wally, because Wally is just creepy, but Heckles is like, you almost worry for him. Like he looks really sad. He's kind of reading out these like monologues, like these phrases that he was like told to say, and you almost wonder like, who's making him do this? Who's making him say this? And so it's kind of scary. I think the helium tank with a toxic logo, that wouldn't really fit his character. He's like a sad clown. I don't know why he would have like a helium tank with like toxic waste on it. Maybe if there was like a creepy clown that was trying to kill people, like some like evil ravenous clown type thing that has like a really evil face with like a helium tank that's like, I don't know. It doesn't really make sense to me. I would have to disagree with this one. I don't know if it would work really, so probably disagree with this one. Okay, Untimely Haunts says that Untimely Death is so underrated and that their user is based off of her. So yes, definitely have to agree with this one. I got Untimely Death in the 2017, they had like a section where it was just older props that were cheaper, and I got her, and she kind of works, but she is so cool. She is so incredibly cool. After owning her for a few years, I would definitely have to agree that she is so underrated. She's one of the first like statue props we've ever gotten. I know that Home Depot has some now, but they're not really the same. She looks really awesome. I love, her activation is so complex. She has that urn, and then her head bends down and she starts talking, and her phrases are really well done. She's so spooky. I love that kind of like, that like talking thing on the urn. I think they could have done that better. I feel like it looks really weird, just like a box. And then like the mouth movement is just like one part of the mouth that disappears and comes back. But she's so creepy. She looks really awesome. There's just a lot to say about her. She's definitely underrated. People need to talk about her more. And if Spirit brought her back, I would not complain. Wink, 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 wink. Please bring her back, Spirit. I would be so happy. I love Untimely Death. Very awesome animatronic. Definitely would have to agree with this one. I'm sorry, I'm gonna not say this right. I'm sorry. Kayut Mausu, I'm so sorry about that, says that Lunging Lily has got to be one of the scariest animatronic Spirit has ever made, in my opinion. There's just something really unsettling about her. So definitely would have to agree. Her audio, I know a lot of people hate the "mommy help me" because Techie uses it in like every other creepy girl prop. But for the time, I think she was one of the first props that used it, and she was kind of original for that. And she has that teddy bear, and she's like low to the ground, and she has like lots of cuts on her face, and she's creepy, very spooky. And then she pops up, and her audio is terrifying after that. After she pops up, her audio just, I don't know if devolves is the right word. It evolves to this like demonic screaming and like, ah! It's so scary. Somebody, I think it was that fish guy, said that her mouth isn't even like a mouth, it's just like a slit, which is so weird. And I know some people are probably like, that's weird, but I kind of love it. It's like, it's just like this like cut almost in her face, and she's like, it talks. Yeah, I would have to agree with this one. Lunging Lily is one of the scariest animatronics. She's so creepy, she's so freaky. She lunges, she talks, she's spooky, she's really awesome, so I'd have to agree with this one for sure. So that's all for this video. Thank y'all so much for watching. Again, if y'all want to submit some more unpopular opinions, go ahead, submit those in the comments or the Google form. I only used ones from the Google form for this video, so please use the Google form. I'm probably going to see them more. So yeah, thank y'all so much for watching, and I'll see y'all later.